Remember, the Israel-Hamas war continues to escalate, and now the IDF has not only managed to enter further into the strip, but the fact is, in a big declaration, the Israeli Defense Forces have said Hamas has lost control in the Gaza Strip and that the IDF have moved to fully ensure that they have control of the Gaza City. IDF has further added that Hamas has lost control and the terrorists are fleeing down south. IDF soldiers of the Golani Brigade has shared this. There's a historic photograph that they have shared of the Israeli flag inside the parliament of Gaza, where now the IDF are in control. You can see the team of soldiers also that this is the image on your screen where the soldiers are flaunting that flag. This was, remember, earlier the terrorist organization's Legislative Council buildings. However, the military wing of the Palestinian terror group Hamas is informed that they are ready to release around 70 women and children hostages in Gaza. But there is a condition, and that condition is, one of the conditions is a 5-day truce is established, apart from, of course, release of Palestinian prisoners.
סרטון, מיכל, שנותן סוג של אינדיקציה למה חמאס עושה עם סיוע הומניטרי. אנחנו מדברים על סוף השבוע האחרון, דרום רצועת עזה, כפי שרואים בסרטון הזה שהגיע לידינו מאותו אזרח, ואנחנו רואים כאן שוטרי חמאס מכים בברוטליות ובאכזריות אזרחים פלסטינים שהגיעו למשאית סיוע כדי בעצם לקבל מזון, כאשר לפי אותו מקור שהעביר לי את התיעוד על זה, אחרי שהשוטרים היכו את התושבים, הם לקחו את תכולת המשאיות הללו לשימוש חמאס והזרוע הצבאית שלו, סוג של אינדיקטור. פה מדובר במזון, תחשבי מה יקרה כשיגיע גם סולר שאמור להיות מסופק לבתי החולים.
India Today's managing editor Gaurav Sawant continues to be with me. Gaurav, let's try to put this in perspective for the viewer watching. When the IDF says they've managed to get a lot of control in the Gaza City or of the parliament, what does that specifically mean? Does this mean they have the control of the northern belt of the Gaza Strip? Does that mean that the Hamas is completely finished from these areas? Can you help us understand on that front?
So Hamas is no longer a ruling entity that can exercise effective command and control as far as the Gaza City and North Gaza are concerned. South of Wadi Gaza, once again, things are in a disarray, but Hamas continues in whatever way to carry out its administrative tasks south of Wadi Gaza or the Gaza River. But let's talk about the Gaza City. This was Hamas's main command and control structure. This is where Hamas stayed. Some operatives on top, maximum beneath the surface in those maze of tunnels. So Israel right now has destroyed most of the infrastructure as far as Hamas was concerned in north of Gaza City and Gaza City. They're well and truly inside. But then when people start moving back, whenever that happens, and in case Israeli forces are still there, there's another threat of urban warfare, booby traps and attacks that take place in from buildings. Hamas operatives could once again return. So that threat remains. Right now, they've only fled as part of their guerrilla warfare tactics. Underneath, Israel is moving in inch by inch, decimating those tunnels, the shafts, the buildings where the Hamas operatives were. You'd recall a number of mosques have been completely destroyed because, according to Israeli Defense Forces, these mosques were used either as command and control structures or as storage bases, or the shafts and mouths of tunnels were in these mosques. So the IDF would want to get in. The Hamas operatives would come out of these tunnels, fire anti-tank guided missiles at the Israeli forces. That is what their officers tell us. That is why they completely destroyed even those mosques. Hospitals is the biggest, in a way, target right now, whether it's the Al-Shifa hospital, which is the main headquarters. Rantisi has already been, to an extent, even as you and I speak, Pooja, you have IDF and, of course, Israeli Navy SEALs who are inside these tunnels, clearing it inch by inch, room by room. And this is the toughest task that they're currently undertaking as hostages. That task remains unfinished.
Very important what Gaurav is talking about. Remember that to have tunnels with exit routes, entry routes through schools and tunnels, it's not going to be easy because, of course, there have been patients. There is a narrative war also that Israel is fighting this time to ensure, to let the world know, according to them, that these tunnels were being misused by Hamas and how. Let me tell you basically how the hospital has now become, in fact, two hospitals have now become the flashpoint. The Al-Shifa hospital has been from day one and Rantisi as well, with the underground tunnels that are present there, according to the IDF, being misused by the Hamas to keep hostages, to literally operate from these tunnels. So now what the IDF has done is they've released this 6-minute long video where it claims to expose the tactics of Hamas, and because these tunnels show that there are clearly exit points into Gaza's Rantisi hospital, for example. According to the Israeli Defense Forces, Hamas terrorists used to hide, operate, hold Israeli hostages here. IDF has attacked the Al-Shifa hospital, parts of it as well in Gaza City. Many have been forced to flee. IDF has also run into an ambush. They came under fire while operating near the Al-Quds hospital. How did they come under an ambush? Because when the tanks were present, they saw that the civilians or the patients were being misused by Hamas as shields, according to the IDF. On the other hand, US President Joe Biden has said he's concerned about the conditions in and around Al-Shifa hospital, where the forces are fighting with Hamas, adding that the hospital must be protected. Remember, Hamas is present at the hospital, and that's why it's the toughest operation for the IDF to pull off.
An operational tunnel. The tunnel is built with electricity. We first saw the solar panels, then the electricity goes here, and it goes down directly to the tunnel. Now you can see the tunnel. You can see the tunnel. The tunnel is let down more than 20 meters down. The rowboat found a door that is bulletproof. It's explosives proof, so it looks like a hard evidence, a clear evidence that the hospital direction is connected. We're now entering into the area of the hospital where we had found the evidence. This operation was conducted by Israeli Special Unit, the Israeli Navy SEALs. I want you to understand, this kind of gear is a gear for a major fight. These are explosives. These are vests with explosives. A woman, clothes, and a rope. A rope next to the legs. And look above this, look above it. It's a baby bottle. It's a baby bottle in a basement, above a World Health Organization sign. This is a suspicion for an area where hostages were being held. There is a list. This list, in Arabic, this list says we are in an operation. The operation against Israel started in the 7th of October. This is a Guardian list where every terrorist writes his name, and every terrorist has his own shift, guarding the people that were here.
You know, I have not been reluctant in expressing my concerns what's going on. And it's my hope and expectation that there will be less intrusive action relative to the hospital. We're in contact and with the Israelis. Also, there's an effort to take this pause to deal with the release of prisoners. And that's being negotiated as well with the Qataris are engaged. And so I remain somewhat hopeful. But the hospital must be protected.
التهجير اللي صار للشعب الفلسطيني.
The displacement that's happened to the Palestinian people, it's been in our memories for a long time. And today the displacement is taking place on a big level, bigger than 1948. I was in the Al-Shifa hospital. It was impossible for me to think that one day it might be hit. Al-Shifa hospital is protected in every sense. Today I could have been martyred, and some of my family could have been martyred. The situation has become really bad. What safe places are left? Where do I go? Where is a safe place? We are walking from Al-Shifa hospital to a conflict area. Where do I go? Is there a safe place there? At night we were sheltering in God's safety in Al-Shifa, a safe area. The maternity ward was shelled, and I was scared for my family, the young ones. You can see the elderly. There were a lot of strikes, shells and bombs, even next to the Al-Shifa. Al-Shifa is a dangerous place.
Let me now bring in Gaurav Sawant for the latest on that. Gaurav, I want you to also help us understand here, and specifically for the viewer watching, because there was criticism that IDF and Israel was facing, that they are deliberately targeting hospitals where patients are dying, where fuel is being run out, and a lot of humanitarian crisis is developing, while the IDF claimed that there are Hamas operating from there. How have hospitals, for example, or schools have become the flashpoint of this war, even though IDF has been precision strikes that they are indulging in?
As far as the hospitals are concerned, according to the Israeli Defense Forces, the Al-Shifa hospital is actually the Hamas operational headquarters. The Hamas leadership lives in the basement and in those maze of tunnels known as the Gaza Metro underneath these hospitals. And not just the Al-Shifa hospital. The 6-minute video released by the Israeli Defense Forces is of the Rantisi hospital. Now, Rantisi is otherwise a children's hospital. But the maze of tunnels, the Hamas commander's house, a tunnel runs from that house to the school, from the school to the Rantisi hospital, according to the IDF. There are solar panels to give electricity to these tunnels, and he's shown that. There are ventilation ducts that have been cleared and created. Once you go inside these tunnels, as the Navy SEALs currently are, the Israeli Navy SEALs, they're inside these tunnels. They've actually released a video that shows weapon storage, command and control, rest and recuperation, where Hamas operatives stay. And more dangerously, according to IDF, this is where they also kept the hostages. They showed a chair with some, ropes tied around the legs of this chair, indicating that somebody had been tied there. Walls, but curtains in front of those walls to take videos. Baby food, diapers, used diapers, all of them kept. All of them there. Perhaps, the IDF, as they were coming in, the operatives, the Hamas operatives and terrorists fled in a rush with those hostages. So all of that indicates you have the hospital on top and Hamas operating beneath the surface. And that's just one hospital.
IDF also showed.
30 plus hospitals all along Gaza Strip.
30 along hospitals, and that's what I will talk about now. Gaurav, I request you to stay on.